Okay, so if you have been putting off starting your YouTube channel or creating more videos or just creating content in general because the whole idea of audio sounds overwhelming, it's expensive, or it's just ugly, this video is for you, friend. I have slowly been making improvements to my home office setup and my desk setup, and audio equipment is usually where it falls apart because a lot of the options out there are big and bulky, they're super expensive, or they kill the whole vibe. It's ugly. It doesn't really fit well on my desk. I don't need a massive studio mixer. I don't need something that is overwhelming and complicated to set up. I just need something that makes me sound good and something that's affordable and it looks good sitting on my desk. And Fifine yet again delivered. And today we're gonna be talking about this bad boy, the SC8 audio interface that comes in pink, and it does just the job for us hobbyist creators or those looking to get into content creation and making videos and clips and things like that. And it's aesthetic and it's pink. Well, let's talk about it. So first up, I want to say thank you to Fifine so much for sending over this mixer. I'm so happy that it comes in pink. Fifine is one of the only companies, y'all. Real quick, can we talk about Fifine? Fifine is so creator friendly. They let you say whatever you want to say, and they are so open to feedback. And that's why I will continue to always work with them, because they allow me to give all of my honest opinions, as well as other creators, feedback on their products, and they listen and they make adjustments. So for those of you who do not know what an audio interface is, it connects your microphone, particularly XLR microphones. So this is an XLR microphone, and you will know these as like kind of the standard microphone that streamers and creators use. And it is an XLR connection, which means you need an extra device to get it to go into your computer. This audio interface from Fifine connects both your XLR microphone and your gaming input from, say, like your PS5, and you can connect it into your computer. So if you want to do streams or video game clips or reviews or whatever, you only have one audio source that you bring into your video or your stream. I love Fifine's branding on all of their stuff. I think they do a really good job with all of their pictures and text, and it just looks really nice. Okay, and so this is what the pink looks like out of the box. It's not like a light pastel petal pink. It's more like a like chalky kind of pink. And I do like that the cables that they give you are also pink. They give you a really good length of your cable that connects to your computer. And then they also give you an audio cable to attach it to your other audio device that you want to capture audio from. As far as build quality goes, this does feel like a under $100 mixer. So you're not going to be getting anything that's like high, like metal, or anything that's like super high quality. You're getting, I think, the price that you pay for this. On the back, it does have pads here to keep it like non-stick pads, and then they also have their branding here on the back of the audio interface. So you will notice, like all Fifine products, there is RGB lights on here. You have it on the buttons here, and then you also have it at the bottom when it sits on your desk. And you'll notice as I'm talking, the volume meter is going up. So this gives you a really good idea of your volume levels. And if I was talking super loud, you'll notice how it goes into red, and that indicates that I'm peaking. Hopefully that didn't blow your ears out. All right, so now we're gonna open up our top-down camera here. All right, so as you can see, this is what everything looks like when you have your colors on and everything like that. Let me just walk you through real quick. If you're just starting out and you're feeling overwhelmed and you're like, my God, what is this? Let me walk you through this without all of the jargon and technical specs in the easiest way that I can. On the back of the device here, you have your RGB button. So this controls the RGB lights on here. And y'all know Fifine will give you 47,000 options for RGB colors. So you've got a lot of different options for colors on here. I am a big fan of like rainbow colors. I just think it's really fun. And then if you want to turn them off, you would just hold down the button and it turns them off. When this is plugged into your computer though, these are going to stay on. Like say your computer's in your bedroom and you don't like to have a bunch of lights going on, you're going to want to turn this off because it will stay on as long as it's plugged into your computer. It has no like sleep mode or anything like that. You have your PC PS4 switch. So whether or not you have this plugged into your PS4, that's the switch you would use for that. This is your cable that goes into your computer. This is your optical in cable for your like console. This is your headphone port that you would use for your, if you wanted to hear the audio going through the mixer. This is your auxiliary in. So if you were to plug in, say, a phone, for example, you could plug your phone into here. This is your headset that would be attached to your like console, for example. And then this is a switch that's also super important. So if you have a dynamic microphone, you will use it to switch this. And then if you have condenser, use it to switch this. This, if you switch it to dynamic versus condenser, this is going to make it louder. And you will not want to use the condenser switch if you have a dynamic mic. And this is where you would plug in your XLR cable. This knob right here is the most important one. This controls how loud your microphone is in your videos and on your streams. You can also control this through whatever software that you're using, but this one is also super important. You can also click it in to mute. So, and then if I unclick it, you should now be able to hear me again. Super important, super easy to use if you want to mute real quick and you don't have like a hotkey or something. That's what this button does. This dial right here is how loud your game audio is versus the chat. So say you have this connected into, say, something in your computer like Discord, you can control the volume so you can balance out how loud you want your game audio to be over their chat, or if you want your chat to be louder than your game audio. This is only for you. So if you have your headphones plugged into here, you can hear everything going through here, and this only controls it in your ears, not your output. This knob right here controls your volume of the audio coming out of this mixer in your ears. So again, if you have your headphones plugged into here so you can hear everything together, this is only going to control what you hear in the volume, not what everyone else on your stream or your videos hear. This right here is for your auxiliary volume. So auxiliary would be, your PlayStation or your gaming handheld or whatever you have plugged into here. Again, controls that volume, and it controls the volume going into your computer. So if you want only like a little bit of volume going into your computer, again, this is something you could also set like in your OBS or your Meld Studio or whatever streaming software you're using. But this is another way to do it. Over here, you have a fun little voice changer button, which there's 7,000 other YouTube videos on here about the voice changer. So if you wanted to do like weird voices or something like that, you can do that. I think it's fun. It's not something I would really use, but we'll do one, and that's all we're gonna do, y'all, because we're not finna go through this. So this is what a megaphone would sound like if you wanted to do a megaphone voice.
The other fun one I think is elder. So this is what an elder voice sounds like. And then if you want to turn it off, you just hold it down.
Now it's off. So that's the voice changer. Have fun with that. Other controls on here as well. Let me just walk you through it real quick. You have mic monitor here. So this button, if you have your headphones plugged in, this is what you would use to figure out how loud your microphone is and whether or not you need to turn this up or down, so you can hear yourself playing back through the headphones. So this button right here is called your 48 volt phantom power button. With microphones, specifically dynamic microphones, when you buy a microphone, it'll say whether or not it's dynamic or it's condenser. Dynamic microphones are really good when you have noisy environments. I typically use dynamic microphones. I'm using one right now, which is a Rode Pod mic. If you're going to use a dynamic microphone, you not only need to use the dynamic switch that's on the back, you need to always have this button pressed because it will not pick up the microphone. It needs a lot of juice to give it. It's like batteries, essentially. This button is your virtual 7.1 surround sound for if you have your headphones plugged in and you can hear a virtual 7.1. This button is the EQ button. This is an equalizer with 3 different like audio modes, essentially. So you have your game, which kind of balances out like sound effects and things like that and kind of puts more emphasis on that from what I understand. This button is more so for music, so it kind of prioritizes like melodies and instruments and things. And then this one is for movies. So if you have something where you want to have an emphasis on speech, this is only for your headphones that you hear. This does not affect your voice going into your video, friends. And then these 4 buttons are for custom sounds. So you could record yourself speaking into one of these buttons, or you could play sound effects through here. So if you're streaming and you know how people have the bah, 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 you could customize that to one of these buttons. So all you have to do is press it and it'll go bah, 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 bah. You like my little DJ air horn? Okay, and that's a quick walkthrough of everything on here. When you interact with these dials, you'll also see the little volume meters go up and down accordingly. Similarly with this one as well. And there you go. So I think a lot of us, when we are purchasing peripherals, we care a lot about not only how does it work, but how does it look? And I think Fifine really was trying to say, yes, we can make audio interfaces for people that want something other than black, because historically they have always come in black. And I'm going to continue to shout from the rooftops, if companies will make peripherals and tech products and other colors for female content creators or gamers, we will buy them. And Fifine knows that we will buy them. And along with that, like, we don't need anything complicated. We don't need a bunch of faders, sliders. Like, yes, that stuff is cool, but we just want it to sound good and look good and all of that. Okay, so I have used this mixer to create videos already. And I will say that the one thing I'll say that I wish was a little bit simpler with this audio interface is that I wish it peaks a bit. So peaking means it's a little bit loud and it kind of like sounds like you're blowing out someone's ears. It does peak a bit. So if you did notice, here we'll flip back to the camera here. If you noticed, the volume on here is not that high for my microphone. And that's because if I turn it up, you saw how that was orange? Like, it will start to peak. And that's a good sign that it has good phantom power and it really boosts the volume of your microphone, but it's kind of too much. Like, they kind of overdid it a little bit, I think, which could be good depending on how like gain hungry your microphone is. But that's the one thing I wish was like a little bit better, is like the volume. I really had to spend a lot of time figuring out the perfect setting for this dial and then the perfect setting in my recording software to make sure it wasn't too loud. So I say all that to say, you saw how it went orange just now? You're really going to have to play around with this and like make sure that you are monitoring and also doing a lot of recording to get this just right so you don't sound too loud. Something you could do to combat that is get like a compressor, which we'll talk, it's a whole nother separate video, but putting on a filter, which is a compressor, which basically like brings down your volume so you don't get too loud, something like that, and some sort of other software. Now, speaking of software, Fifine did develop their own audio software that works with this device to EQ your microphone with the mixer. However, it is Windows only, and I have a Mac. And that leads me to the other super small but kind of not small annoyance, is that there's no support for additional tweaks to this mixer for Mac. Meaning if you had a Windows computer, you can do a lot of other things with this mixer and an XLR microphone to EQ your voice. So right now my voice is going through some other competitors' EQ software to tweak how this mic sounds, because out of the box, it doesn't necessarily sound this good going through a mixer. And they still do not have, at the time of recording this video, they do not have a Mac version of their Fifine Genie app, which it's just, I wish we had it. And I know this is a newer product for them, and I'm sure they're doing a lot of development on it, and Fifine is very responsive and they listen to their community. So I'm sure it's on their roadmap, but I cannot demonstrate that at all about how to then use this mixer to EQ your mic, because I don't have the software to demonstrate it with. So if you do have Windows, know that you can do even more things with this mixer and your microphone using their app. I currently do have the audio running through another competitor's EQ software, and I have EQ and noise removal on. So I'm going to give you a quick test of what everything sounds like running through this mixer without EQ on my voice. So now the EQ is turned off, and this is what this microphone sounds like with no EQ. So I also have noise removal on, and so I'm going to turn off noise removal so you can get an idea of how things sound if you do not have noise removal on. So that's just kind of how everything sounds without noise removal on. So just kind of emphasizing that like a mixer is it's not the end all be all. You want to add a little bit more to your sound to sound treat it and make your microphone sound even better. One of the other limitations of this mixer that I want to point out is you can only put in one audio input for XLR, and it does not support USB input. I need Fifine to make another one of these that also accepts USB microphones and maybe another XLR input, and you will be golden. Okay, so can we get real for a second about Fifine and this mixer? I love that there are brands and companies to help for us smaller creators, hobbyist creators, people that don't want to spend hundreds or thousands of dollars on audio and video equipment for creating content as a hobby. This is not something I would compare to a Rodecaster Pro, a Rodecaster Duo, a Beacon Mix Studio Create, an AverMedia $300 mix, like anything like that. This is not something I would compare to that, and it is very disingenuous to compare the two. Fifine is not making $700 audio interfaces. This is not something that I would say a high-end professional or creator would use. If you have a high-end podcast, you have a professional use case, you are producing podcasts, you're producing high-quality streams, things like that, you're not going to get a Fifine mixer under $100. You're going to go get a mixer or an audio interface that is much more expensive. They deliver and they fit different use cases. This is for someone that's just getting started. This is just a hobby. They don't have a need for something that's super high end or higher quality or in a higher budget. And I feel like if you're just starting out, you're overwhelmed, you want something in pink. Pink isn't an option in anything else. You aren't really ready to upgrade for that, or you just need something that's a good gift for a content creator in your life that likes pink. This is a great place to start and begin. I really just want to get that out of the way because I watch a lot of these videos about these value budget beginner friendly products, and they often get compared to people who are giants in the industry, and I think it is very disingenuous to compare the two. They fit different markets and different niches. Okay, gotta get that out of the way. With all that being said, I think this is, again, great for cozy creators, entry-level content creators, girly content creators, people looking to get started who've been putting off buying equipment because it all looks expensive or intimidating or it's overwhelming. I think it's great to that. This is the only option I found for a mixer out the box that is pink. There's only one other competitor, I think, that offers something like this, and that's also in a different price bracket. It's also been discontinued. So we're just gonna put that out there. Is this gonna stay on my desk long term? Not quite. The inability to use the Fifine Genie software with this is a problem for me. I can use other software to EQ my microphone. It does make my setup look so much more aesthetic. I love the way that it looks. Y'all know I love RGB. It is the best. I just think it adds so much color and personality. And I think it looks great on my desk. The footprint's small enough. And I think it just makes everything look super cool. This definitely makes me want to be at my desk longer, and it does make me want to create content more. I really need the Genie software for Mac. I hope it's coming soon. Q1 2026. Fine. You got till March. Into March. Let's go. It does the job. It looks great. I think it does a great job of capturing my voice and being able to give me everything I need to be able to create my videos and my content. And it looks so great on my desk. If I had to give Fifine any feedback on this mixer for their next version, because I'm sure they're cooking up a next version, a lighter shade of pink, the ability to connect a USB-C microphone, compatibility with the Genie software on Mac, and some sort of noise gate on the device. I know I'm asking for a lot here, but noise suppression is like the biggest thing I think audio mixers and audio interfaces can provide, is reducing some of the background noise. And if we're able to do that on the actual device with accompanying software, we're golden. And a USB-C mic, we're golden. Anyway, that's my review of the Fifine SC8 audio interface. In pink, I am so happy to see that Fifine continues to make peripherals in pink, and I'm hoping other companies will follow suit. And I love that the value price is there, and they are giving us value-friendly products for entry-level and just hobbyist creators to be able to create the content that we love to do without breaking the bank. Thank you again, Fifine, for sending over this mixer. I'm just over the moon about it. It makes me very optimistic about the future of audio and content creator gear and how we're starting to get things in other colors aside from black. And it just makes me very, very optimistic. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up. That tells YouTube that you found value in this video. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please feel free to leave them in the comments. If you want to pick up this mixer, I did leave a couple of links for you. If you decide to purchase from any of my links, it does help out the channel. It's at no cost to you. But of course, do not feel pressured, but I really appreciate it either way if you do. If you want to check out any other fine products, I've got other videos on this channel raving about their products and of course talking about some of the qualms with them. And if you want to check out other tech related videos or gaming related videos, feel free to check out any of the videos that are coming up next.